Welcome to True Print for Life. I'm your host, Christina Vera.
And I'm your co-host, Maylin Sambois.
Welcome back.
So today, right, I was excited to see when I just woke up and I opened Instagram like all of us do, don't lie. And I saw this really cool video, right, from this pastor. And then in his description or his caption, the note says, "Nothing is wrong with you." I'm going to read that again. "Nothing is wrong with your oil. You just don't know where to pour it. It's time to stop pouring it on people who can't receive it."
Mm. What did that mean to you? Like when you read it, what spoke to you about that?
A couple of things. One is I had this last week. I had someone that we know, really great person, amazing woman, strong woman, almost broken and devastated because her work is toxic, right? And in so many little ways than others, she has been told that she's not going to get a promotion. She's not going to be able to move up. Almost like made fun of her, right? And she's like in this kind of call center environment, and she's really good, like a real good human, and has been through a lot. Mm-hmm. And when I heard that, I said, yeah, so what do you think? Because, I'm a coach, so I would tell you what to do. I'm not a therapist. I'm not going to ask you what you think. That's not my job. But as a coach, I already want to go into right? But I took a second. I said, well, what do you think that means, right? Like, what is that? What do you think this is telling you? Mm-hmm. And the thing was like, well, I think it's time for me to move. And I said, yes, that's, I think, what it is. You need to find something else. And I think sometimes we're so loyal to a situation, right? We're like, no, like if I just give it one more year and, the customers love you, everybody that can see your worth and your value loves you. But the people in leadership don't get it. They don't appreciate you. They want your job. They want you to continue doing your role because you do it well, make some money. Mm-hmm. But they don't want to promote you. They don't want to recognize you. And I say, yeah, like I know loyalty is great when it's given to the right people.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and the same thing with the oil. Yeah. The oil that you have is special, but when you're giving it to the wrong people, it's why it's not being fruitful. It's why it's not flourishing. That's why you're not getting promoted, because you're trying to give it your all and everything to the wrong place.
Right.
Right? So I say, yeah, it's time for you to move. Let's look at your resume. Let me see what I can connect you with, right? Mm-hmm. And then start thinking about, because sometimes these things happen and it's an opportunity for change. So maybe you wanted to do something in your life, but this job is secure and all of these things. And if you have a secure job and they're paying you well and they're treating you well, that's a thing. But if you're not being paid well and you're not being treated well, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? There's so many jobs. So I just told her, I said, maybe there's something you want to do. Maybe you want to be a counselor because she's great with that. Maybe you want to be a teacher. It's anything. Whatever you want to do, is a good time to start thinking about that. Mm-hmm. What do you need to get there? And then number two, is there a company that you want to work for that you probably have been eyeing? Like, look at that. Do they have careers? Do they have events coming up? I said, so let's start with your resume. I want to see your resume. Let me see what you got. And then let's see how we help you from there. But it really broke my heart just to see how hurt this person was and how good she is, because people are evil. But then that same week or so, I had a connection with Columbus State, who has great programs for women, for single mothers, for single parents. They have all these resources that I never knew about. And and I was like, well, actually, I know this woman that would need some support. I think she wants to go back to school. And they're like, connect me. I want to help her. I was like, fantastic. So just within the week, because she was vulnerable enough to talk to me, I was able to now connect her with someone that's hopefully going to help her get whatever career she needs, right? While she gets out of that situation, because it's not healthy.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I that's crazy. You have to talk to me about that later, because I'm already thinking who's hiring right now? Mm-hmm. And I think it's just to your earlier point. I think sometimes too, we get so comfortable, because it's so safe and it's, it's secure, that we kind of sometimes will just limit ourselves because the fear of leaving or trying a new relationship or trying a new job, there's so much uncertainty with that we kind of settle for less or not getting what we actually need because it's safer that way or feels familiar. And the reality is that we were not designed, that I feel like that was never God's plan for us, just to be kind of dealing with whatever or with whoever, just so that, we can feel comfortable or safe.
Yeah. And I think, I learned through the years, because I used to be that very, not judgmental, but I didn't understand why people would stay in abusive relationships, right? I know my mom went through it. I understand now that she did it because she had to, right? Because she didn't feel like she had any support.
She thought she had to.
She thought so, right? But my family was not gonna support her that way, you know, especially when they side with the wrong side, you know, and not having an education, right? Not mentally prepared, you know, financially prepared, having 2 little kids and worrying about what wasn't even real yet.
Yeah.
You know, she was fearful. Plus she was in an abusive relationship, right? And then there's people now that I've seen, whether it be a work relationship who could be abusive or personal, you know, a romantic relationship. I tell people, don't judge people. Like, they don't not leave because they don't know that it's wrong what's happening, that they're not suffering. It's because they're afraid. You know, they are being isolated. You know, if you're in a job, you think you're not going to get another job. This is the only job you can get. So I stopped judging and now being more for those people, right? So I always say, like, if I know someone is in a bad situation, and Christina has been with me in this situation, and I'm not ready to leave the person yet or the situation, or, you know, she'll be like, one thing I always appreciate about you is you never left me alone. You never just like let me to figure it out. I got frustrated. You were like, bring me flowers, right? And she always bring me flowers, always make sure that I was good. And that gave me the strength many times to be like, well, I'm treated like this for my best friend. Like, why am I accepting this, you know? And then slowly your mind, you know, gets to that and you get mature enough to be like, I'm going to walk away from this because this is not good for me. But if I didn't have a Christina, right, like, it would have been harder. Maybe I eventually would have gotten to these decisions, but it might not have been as easy. So when people are experiencing things and they open to tell me, then I try to be supportive, right? Like I said, this is what I think you should do. And when you're ready, I'm here.
Yeah.
I just check in, but I'm not going to force you to leave something you're not ready for. And I'm not going to force you to, like, you know, walk away. But I don't leave them isolated because the abuser or the situation sometimes wants you to be isolated and not to get the help that you need, you know, and kind of confirm the fear they put in your head already.
Absolutely. And one of the things I appreciate about you is that when you got to a place where you were ready to make a move, you also were still very strategic about it.
Absolutely.
So I feel like having a support person, like, I knew I was going to have to support you until you got to a headspace of being like, no, I'm really about to do this. Because I felt like, okay, it's my job to help her get to that point. But it was still going to be up to you to take the steps of whatever that was going to look like for you next. And you are so patient and strategic, whereas, like, you know, I'm a little different with certain things. Definitely not as patient. I mean, it's just more of like, I think you just have a patience about yourself, and you're very strategic in a lot of different ways. So it's interesting because I'm a visionary when it comes to business, but Maylin is very strategic and very visionary when it comes to a lot of like personal business matters. And so I always felt like one of the strengths that you always possess, that you are able to then, once you are able to remove your emotion out of it, that's the process, right? Getting to a headspace where you're like, okay, this hurts and this sucks and this is not what I wanted, but I got to move that to the side because now, I got to put this in a little box for a second, and I got to think like logically, like, what about the assets? What about this? What about that? And then you would start to create your plan from that headspace. So understanding that whatever you're going through, like, you can't make decisions strictly from a place of emotion.
No.
Like, at some point you have to be able to tap into, when people talk about emotional intelligence, that is such a real thing. And that takes practice. That takes time. That takes healing. That takes surrounding yourself with people who can help you when you're not feeling like you can be that. Because we're not that every day. I mean, there's days that I have no emotional intelligence.
None.
I'm ready to be hood. I'm ready to pull up. I'm like, what he do? Girl,
I'm not promoting peace.
It's just like, I'm like, what are we going to do? We're going to pull up. And you're like, no, we're not going to pull up. I'm like, okay. But
then I'll pull up for you, right? Because that's the funniest thing.
Which is what I was like very grateful for. Because sometimes you can't, like, sometimes when you can't, you got to have people who can. And that's why I think it's so important to have we talk about this in other episodes, and I think we talk about this just when we speak publicly. It's so important to have like your advisory team, like your core group of individuals, because I feel like You got to have a therapist on speed dial. You got to have an accountant on speed dial.
A lawyer.
Like one thing I'm learning, I need a real lawyer on speed dial. Like
no fake lawyers.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like you think you got lawyers on deck until you need a lawyer on deck. And you're like, actually, I don't have a lawyer on deck, but I do now. And so it's just, but then you also need, you know, those friends who like, when you really truly are just not in a headspace that you can be emotionally intelligent, because that's just not something you can have every single day. It's like some days you just don't have that in you. You got to be able to phone a friend and be like, yo, like this is where I'm at. Like I'm not eating, I'm not sleeping properly. Like I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed. You got to be able to have people pull up for you and say, listen, did you eat today? Where you at? What do you need me to do? And just walk you through, you know, that season of your life. And you know, and you said this in a previous episode, you know, when shit goes bad and you ain't got nobody, that's how you really know. You can measure the true weight of your friendships when you're in those rock bottom places, when things are not right in your work and you don't have anybody to talk to, things are not right in your relationships. Like that's when I feel like friendships are really critically important, because to go through those seasons and not have people to be able to bounce ideas off of, or just to be, like I said, to be that emotional support person, or to give you ideas or strategies. It's like, yeah, it's cool. We can go kick it. Like you can have those friends to go hang out with, travel with, drink with, or whatever your thing is. Because I don't do any of those things anymore.
Sure don't.
You know, but if that's all the people you're hanging around with are good for, then I'm here to tell you, look at me. I'm here to tell you, you don't have no real friends.
You don't.
So if you don't have somebody that you can call in your darkest hour, something's happening, they can't pull up for you, they can't, whatever it is, then you don't really have no friends.
And sometimes you don't call, like if they know, right? Because sometimes you're so overwhelmed that you can't call.
Yeah.
Right? You're trying to like really just stay above water right now. Like, right? Like you're treading. And you can even make that call to the people you got.
Right, because my mom was the one who called you.
Listen, okay, guys, I'm very busy. And, you know, and I always say, like, my dear people, like, I don't have to talk to you every day. Like, I can track you, so I know where she's at all the time. Mm-hmm. But I know that when I talk to you, like, I can, you know, it's like we never stop talking, right? Yeah. Because we'll catch up where we are. But we know we've been busy. Mm-hmm. And I don't watch news, guys. I don't, very rarely. She's usually the one keeping me up in the news, and I wasn't getting no news. So I was in la la la, like in my busy life. And Christina's mom came to my house. My mom cooked for her, and they were talking. And I don't know, I was in a meeting. I walked out of the meeting. I come into the living room, and they're talking. And mommy said something. I said, whoa, you just about Christina? Because I heard Christina, I was like, what you said? I said, oh, yeah, she's really stressed. I said, what happened? Mm-hmm. I was like, why she didn't tell me? She said, well, you know, she don't want to worry you because you have the baby. And I was like, nah, tell me what's happening. I looked it up on the news, and I was livid. I was livid for her because I know Christina. I know her character. I know her integrity. And I know how hard she works and how much she has sacrificed to be here. And I was livid. I was like, why didn't she call me? I will have pull up, you know? And I was like, well, when is the next meeting, right? Because I was mad that I wasn't at the last one when this all went down. And the moment I found out her schedule, I said, give me your schedule. And she won't give me. I was like, I need your schedule, right? And she's like, well, I was like, I need to know when the next thing is so I could be there, right? So I could just be ready and available. And I call a couple people because you know what's up. So I was like, yeah, if I call you, just don't ask questions. Just show up to the address because we may have to protect my girl. And my people are good that I just say less, right? And that's how you know. So I was there and I was like, no. And I was, I'm not like I don't like to fight. I'm not a violent person. I'm a very butterfly person. My thing is, if you don't attack me, I don't attack you. If you don't attack my people, then we have no problems. But if you came after me or my people, then you should be ready for what's to come because God don't like ugly and I'm with God. Yeah. So I was ready, and I'm sitting outside this meeting for 4 hours. Yeah. My computer, that was very disappointed at her. And I'm like, okay, something is wrong. What's everything? And I'm like, did you eat? Are you good? I'm texting her. Is everything all right? But you had no idea I was outside.
No, I had no idea you was even out there. So when I came out, then that's when I saw your messages, and then I realized your car was in the parking lot, and I was like, what are you doing here?
Watching
he was like,
your
I'm
car.
just here watching your car.
Because I don't trust people, guys. It's too much. It's too much.
No, and I so appreciated that. And then I saw you at my following meeting, and you stood there for hours and you waited. And it gave me such peace to come out in the midst of all of the craziness that, you know, we had been going through that day. And, you know, to come out and to see you and to see my mom. And it was just like, you know what, regardless of what's about to go down, I know it ain't gonna go too down. Because one thing about my mom and one thing about Maylin, I know, so I think there's just power in being able to have like those roots and to be rooted in, you know, certain relationships and friendships. And I think that, you know, going back to the quote earlier about, you know, planting oil or
putting the oil in the wrong people.
Putting the oil in the wrong people, because if it were the other way, you know, I would 100%.
I would have to stop her.
Yeah, because it would easily be the same, but it would be no thought in my mind.
If I don't answer you quick enough, you're in my house.
Yeah, right. I've come into your house before when you didn't answer me, and I've just put the code in and be like, "Yo, what's up?
You okay?
You all right?" I mean, because there's been so many things that have happened over the years that I'm like, she ain't calling me. I'm just gonna pull up.
Absolutely.
You know, and
you
I think
gotta do that.
Yeah, we pull up in a heartbeat. I'm like, something ain't right. And I remember one time you were out of the country, and I couldn't get a hold of you because, you know, your signal wasn't strong there. And I was like, okay, it's been about a day. And so I called your brother. I was like, yo, have you talked to your sister? He was like, no, actually I haven't. I was like, I'm just concerned, like, da-da-da. He was like, let me make some calls or let me find her. And then eventually I think you called me. You were like, I'm fine. I'm da-da-da. I'm like, just want to verify.
And I love that. I can't go missing, so be careful.
Make sure you are okay, because you were in a thorough world. And I'm like, I just want to make sure you're okay.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah, because I think to me, you know, you have to be able to reciprocate that energy. And so like, God willing, and I'm so grateful to God, because I feel like I don't have a lot of things like that happen often. Like I feel like I did when I was younger. So I feel like, not that I don't have a lot of things, like I've had my fair share. So I feel like that
she did it earlier than me. That's what happened. I did mine in my late 20s.
All that. I'm like, girl, I had it. Like my life has been crazy since.
Before I met you, you had a lot.
Like, listen, I was a teen mom. I've done a lot. So by this season, I feel like right now, it should have just been a lot more chill. So, but it's just, you know, I'm just so grateful, you know, and I think that is something that I always feel like when there is, you know, anytime things have happened, it's always been affected. Like the enemy has always, or something has always tried with like my family or one of my kids or just something. Mm-hmm. And so there had been a lot of peace for an extended period of time. And so, you know, when this whole, you know, kind of disruption happened, I just was so grateful, because it was like, not grateful for the disruption, but grateful for the reminder of us, like, I'm not alone. Like, I got you, I got my mom, I got my sisters. Because one thing about even my sisters, like my one sister, she literally texted me every single day. Jessica, she texted me every single day. Like she, you know, was on social media arguing on my behalf. I didn't even know that. Like my other sister was like, yo, Jessica is like arguing with people in threads. And I'm like, why is she doing that? She was like, because people are talking crazy and like, she's just about that life. And it took me back to when Jessica and I were teenagers. And my sister is small, like, she's smaller than me.
I'm 5'3", she's smaller.
Yeah, Jessica's like 4'11".
Oh God.
I think.
She's okay though.
And I remember, and this is just a wild, quick story, but when I was pregnant with Maritza, you know, I was a teenager. Mm-hmm. And
you about to graduate though.
Yeah, I was a senior. I was a senior in high school, but I was damn near 9 months pregnant at this time. And I had gotten into this altercation with this other lady. She and I were going back and forth, and you know, unfortunately, things ended up getting violent, and Jessica was with me. And so was my husband, who wasn't my husband at the time, but he was there. And so she and I are arguing. So Ken is like, yo, we got to get out of here. Like, you don't need this. You're pregnant. Like, let's go. And so I was attempting to leave. And as I was trying to walk out, the lady swung on me.
Oh, no. Like a pregnant person.
Yeah, she swung on me. And so at that point, like we are fighting, like fist fighting. But she was trying to kick me in my stomach.
Oh, God.
Like intentionally.
Her Maritza.
She was intentionally trying to kick me in my stomach. And so at that point, Kent jumps in front of me to try to like block her. And from the corner of my eye, I see Jessica come around. And it's like slow motion, but I remember it like it was clear as day. And this was just terrible, but this is the truth.
This is what happened.
This is what happened. And so, you know, Doc is at this point, he done threw himself in front of me trying to block this woman from hitting me. But I see Jessica come around and come from behind, and she hits this woman from behind. And the woman falls in between this little crack it was like a bed frame and a wall, and she fell. And Jessica, just with all her little might, hits this woman, and the woman falls. And then
just little giant,
and we all leave out of there. And so one thing about Jessica, I have to say, you know, she's also busy. She's an entrepreneur, a mom. She's
very sweet.
Very, like...
But don't mess with her.
Not ill-tempered whatsoever.
No.
Like, the kindest person you meet her, you would never think that she remotely even has any kind of anger in her body whatsoever. But when I tell you Jessica don't play about her family... She don't play about her family. And when the day I saw her knock this woman, like... She saw what had happened, and she saw what this woman was doing. And when we got to my mom's house after the fight, I said, Jessica, where did you come from? And she was like, well, I heard y'all arguing. And then when I saw her trying to kick you in your stomach, she was like, I just knew I had to do something. And she said she hit her with everything she had, and she fell. And she was just like, I didn't even know I could do that. And I was like, just shocked. And so when I say, and my sister was even smaller then, because she was real thin. And like I said, we was in high school. And so, you know, so it's just a, you know, mind you, I'm not promoting violence. I'm just
absolutely
explaining.
not. But I do promote defending myself.
Yeah.
Like, let's be clear.
Because I did try to leave, but she tried to sneak me as I was walking out.
She really asked for it, I think.
And but Jessica has always been, one thing about Jessica I can honestly say is that she pulls up. She, you know, she rides for her family, and we ride for each other. And so I'm grateful that, you know, although we have had, you know, trials and tribulations throughout our years.
Like all families?
Yeah, like all families. Like my siblings and my mom are solid in terms.
They're ride or die people.
Yeah, for sure.
Ride or die.
So I'm just grateful. I think that, you know, and I'm the same for them, you know, and they know that. And I'm grateful that, you know, in that moment, in this season, where typically, you know, I'm doing things for them or trying to be, you know, the big sister, because I am the oldest. They, as soon as they heard what was happening and what people were saying and trying to do, like, she was like blowing me up. Like, what do you need me to do? What do you need me to, you know? And I'm like, ain't nothing we could really do here, you know, like, but she wanted me to know that, you know, she was there. She was there. And that truly made all the difference in being able to go through something like that. And I think about even people who don't have villages, how hard, and you think about mental health, like, and how higher rates of suicide and just depression and anxiety. And I feel like many of these individuals, and I don't know this scientifically, but just if you don't have a village, I can see how this kind of stuff could eat at people.
It can.
Like, you could have easily just been in your house just feeling like alone and feeling like you don't have nobody. Because even for a few days there, I was just like, what the fuck am I going to do with this? Right. Like, you know, because how do I navigate this? And what do I do? And, you know, and even though I had a village, I've always had a village, I froze in that moment because I had never experienced something like that so publicly. And I forgot just for like, you know, a few days, but to be in a situation like that, even if it doesn't even have to be on a large scale and it doesn't even have to be publicly, but to not have a village that can pull you out of that, I can't even imagine what people go through that don't have that.
But they go through what you felt for 2 seconds, or 2 days or 3 days, you know what I mean? Because you feel like everything is on you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you there. So how do you get out?
Yeah.
And there's no out. Like, you're like swimming and you can get out. That's how I feel. It's like water and you can swim yourself out of the water if you have a bad dream. But no, I love your family because they're always ready, right? Always. And we were in that meeting, there was a group text message happening. And when they didn't see you on the TV, they're like, what's up? Boy, where's she at? Right? And the whole time we're looking because I'm looking at the door like, where's the security guard? And I became real good friends with security people there because I wanted to know how the protection happens. Because, I don't know a lot about these things because it's never been my interest. But now it's my interest, guys. I know a lot now. And because of you, right? And they could tell when we were there that we were there for you. A couple people told me like, okay, you're here for her. I said, absolutely. We're here. And I didn't even know we were on TV, which is crazy because I'm on the front of the thing. My eyes are rolling. And I get a text from your sisters like, y'all on TV. I said, who's y'all? And then I looked up at a screen and I said, oh, people can see that? I was like, let me see a little straighter. Ooh, you see my chichos? So I love that they were so also on it. Like they were not probably there, right? But they were there because they were every second. Anytime 30 minutes passed, they're like, well, you'll check on her. How's she doing? Well, where is she at? Like they were looking for you, right? Because they couldn't see you. And they were, what's happening? So I love that. Your mom was keeping them updated. I love your mom. Yeah. I love your mom. Your mom is so sweet. But she's also very about it. So I don't know if people know that, but your mom is really protective of her babies. And your family has always been protective of you because of who you are to them, right? Because they have to kind of, in a way, they're giving you back everything you give into them. They want to make sure that you're protected. Yeah. And your family's ready to meet. Guys, I'm an adopted Puerto Rican. Because when I was having Jaira, Christina's brother was so sweet. He was like, I will be his father. Aww. I love him. I was like, you could be, because you're cute. You could definitely be. He'll love you, and they've always been so sweet to me. And so also protective of me. And I'm grateful for that because I have I love my family, guys. I do. Not all the members, but I love my family. But I feel like I was blessed enough to also have and be part of an amazing family in your family. So I'm very grateful for that.
Same with your mom and your brother. I think your brother's at my house right now.
Right now with your husband.
So I mean, we're blessed. And I think that's, even if you don't have that, I think that going back to the beginning of this episode, it's like, you deserve that. And you can find that. There are people that are ready to give and don't feel like you have to settle. Don't feel like you have to just take whatever because it's just all you think you can have or all you think that you deserve. Like, no, like everybody deserves to feel at peace and to feel secure and to feel like you are in relationships or in work environments that are fruitful and that are two-way, exchanges. And if you're not, just start evaluating, like, what's a non-negotiable for you? Like, what do you want to be able to give and what do you want to be able to receive? And not, what our pastor has been talking a lot about, understanding the Bible more and acts of service and, things of that nature. And it's not that you're supposed to do acts of service and expecting things in return, but understanding that, I do believe that when you are intentional about creating relationships and atmospheres, it's also because you are setting a standard for how you want to be treated in exchange for how you are treating others. Yeah.
And we all have a special thing. So I'm listening to this book. Because, guys, I haven't been extremely successful in my relationships. Not me. It's not always me, guys. I definitely like to blame other people on this one. I'm just kidding. But I had to also take ownership for the decisions that I made, right? Because I had this person tell me in this new dating area of my life, like, I just feel like I'm always rejected. And, I give my all. And then people, don't... they leave me, like it's like they're shopping while they're dating me, and then they wait.
Is Natty?
Huh?
Was that Natty?
No. Okay.
No. So this is a different one.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Anyways, guys, don't let her judge me.
We have a lot to catch up on.
Yeah. So, anyways, so this book we're reading, I'm listening to, is called Love Life by Matthew Hussey, and it's a really good book because in there he says, people, like, let's say people reject you. And I think for those people that have abandonment issues or unhealthy attachment issues, like, you can sometimes see a rejection as a form of rejection of who you are. And there's something wrong with you because people keep leaving you or relationships don't work. But he said, actually, that's a good thing, because if somebody is leaving you, they're not the one. And sometimes, and I had to I actually reflected a lot on this, because if someone leaves you, for most that you want to grieve that they were the one, they were not the one if they left you, right? Because if they really were the one, they would have never left. So what you're grieving is the potential, what could have been. This could have been the person for
Facts.
you, but they were never the person for you, right? And you have to accept it. They were not mine, right? We had what we had. Yes, it hurt. Yes, you grew. Now that person left to open the space for the right person to come. And you may have to go through a couple of people until you find your person. But then now you know that if this person leaves you, or if you leave them, whatever, they were not the person for you.
Yeah.
And I see relationships a little bit different now than I did in my earlier years, because I don't get attached. And people, I started like, in the dating world now, people I don't know if they get attached really easily. I don't know if it's my energy. I don't know what it is. But I don't get attached so easily because I want to take the time to really get to know you, right? I really want to get the time. And if I'm not for you and you leave, like, I'm cool, I take it as a sign that you were not the person for me. No hard feelings. We'll continue our journey until hopefully we find the right person for us. Because I also used to believe there's only one right person for you. But actually, some people are seasoned, or maybe they're the right person for you in that season.
Facts.
And not then, because I think anybody that has come to my life has been the right person for a certain amount of season or time. The mistake I think I made in the past was that I wanted to extend that time. Like when the time came to an end, I wanted to keep pouring my oil into these people. And that person was no longer the right fit. So I had to learn to just take my little oil and take it somewhere else. And sometimes because I wasn't paying attention, sometimes I think, and I like to believe God just made it a little stronger, right? For me to be like, hey, muchacha, despierta, right? Like I clap in the beginning of every episode. It was like that. And then I think now, because I'm not waiting for the extreme sign anymore, is easier to be able to let go of someone that is not for you.
Yeah.
Right? And again, no hard feelings. Thank you. That I was happy to get to know you. It is not going to be a fit, and we move forward, right? And I just want people to take the time. I think when I was younger, people wanted to propose to me in 6 months. For those who have never been proposed to, I get real excited with this. You're like, oh, wow, like, oh, you want to get married. Darn it. Because you're not ready.
Yeah.
And then you feel pressure. Like, okay, this person now has announced to the whole world that we're getting engaged, or we're engaged now. I have to go forward with this because now, But now I don't even want to get to that. Like, I don't even want to say yes to date, like boyfriend and girlfriend, until I have dated you for a long period of time to know who you are. And I tell people up front, this is who I am. This is what you get. Yes, I'm Dominican. I don't cook. Don't expect me to get excited after we get married. If we get married, then I'm going to cook for you. This is me, right? I don't like it. I know how to do it, but it's not my thing. I'm not very homey, like homemaker. Like, I'm not that person. I'm about this life. Because I want to be honest with people. People see a Dominican and they get excited, think I'm going to cook. And that's not the thing, guys. Now, let's say that's who I am. I want you to come as you are too. Like, don't bring me your representative. Because if I meet your representative, and I say this to people straight up, if I like your representative and I say yes to your representative for a relationship, and then you decide you want to show up as your authentic self now, I'm not going to like you. Because I already like that person that you show me. I want that person for the rest of my life. That's who I say yes to.
Right.
So if you just be who you are in the beginning, there's somebody for everybody.
Yeah.
And for anybody that's dating, just be who you are. If the person doesn't accept you for who you are, they're not your person.
Yeah.
And there's someone out there, maybe multiple people out there, that will accept you as you are. So don't be afraid to show up authentically as you are.
Absolutely. Now 100, I agree with everything you just said. Because you can't be too fixated on falling in for somebody's potential, or falling for what you think you can fix, or because ain't nobody got time for that. And I think I feel like finally the generations are shifting away from recognizing that there's time and a place for everything. And marriage is great. Don't get me wrong.
It's beautiful.
I love love. I love
love too.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but
we're romantics, guys. This is how we are.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, if that's your thing, if you want to be married, cool, be married. But if you don't, we got to stop telling people that you're not complete unless you're married. You're not complete,
have a child.
Because some people are better off being single. Yes. I think there's power in being like, listen, I'm cool. Like, you don't have to keep telling young girls that they got to be with somebody to feel complete, to feel whole. I feel like that's something that each individual person needs to make that choice. Like, I'm meeting so many more women now who are telling me, like, no shade or anything like that. But like, if I wouldn't have been married, I wish I wouldn't have done this. I wish I wouldn't have done that. And it's not anything against those individuals. It's just they got married for the wrong reasons. Yes. They got married because they thought that, that's what they were supposed to do, or that's what they were essentially groomed to do in terms of you get married, you have children, you do all these things, and then you get older and then boom. And it's just, I think at the end of the day, going back to what you say, be who you are. And if you're okay being by yourself, and there's nothing wrong with saying that I'm okay with being. And you're not by yourself. You're not alone. There's a difference between single. There is single, and there is the choice of being a person who wants to be single. Mm-hmm. And no one should make you feel like you are alone because you are single. Some people like to lock their door. Listen, I love my life. I love my children. I love my husband. But there is nothing wrong. And at 9 o'clock at night, setting that alarm, mm-hmm. and you go to bed and you just live your life. Yeah. And I'm meeting so many more women now who are like, listen, this dating pool ain't it. and if this is just what it's going to be, this is just what it's going to be. And it's like, well, that's okay too. Like, you have to be able to understand, I feel. And I mean, I'm married, obviously, and it took he and I a long period of time just to even get adjusted to that line, to get alignment about parenting, about relationships. And, and some days, and I think there's a clear distinction between I'm not in love with him every single day. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not and I know there's days that he's not in love with me every single day. Yes. Because I'm a pain in the ass, and I recognize that, and he knows. He's like, this damn woman.
Yeah, there she goes.
But I'm his person and he's my person, and I respect him. He respects me, and we, agreed to a partnership. And, so I think there's days that it can't just be this surface level, like every single day. It's this Disney experience of butterflies and unicorns. It's like, cool.
It's rough.
Like, some days it's like that. Some days it's like, oh yeah, that's great.
We are the beach and the resort.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, of course. After a couple presidentes, but it's just not, and I, to be honest, and I love that if they're like, that truly is their life and their story every single day, I'm happy for you.
Yes.
But that's not my experience. And I've never been in a relationship where every single day I felt that way about anybody.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I don't respect him or I don't value his contributions to his family, to me, and so there's a friendship, there's a partnership, mm-hmm. there's a level of like, I know who that person is. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about, there's no facade about who I married. Mm-mm. I know exactly who he is. I know what his strengths are. I know what his areas of opportunity are. I know how he thinks. I already know what he's going to ask me. I've learned who my person is. And
he learned you.
And he 100% learned me. So some days I know he's just like, but he knows what he signed up for. Mm-hmm. Just like I know what I signed up for.
Yes.
And so there is just this, there's this understanding as to who we are and what we both bring to the table, but, at the end of the day, I'm not going to allow society or, some Instagram posts because he didn't buy me a Ferrari for my birthday that he ain't winning out here.
Right, but he's a provider.
My husband goes to work every day. And he don't, and
he don't go sick. This
and
man.
Some days I was looking out the window. I'm like, it's snowing. You really want to go? And he's like, I'm going to work. I'm like,
yes.
I'm the one that's like, oh, you should really call off. He's like, yeah, I'm not. Like, he's gonna go to work. He's gonna come home and he's gonna cook dinner.
That's right.
And he's gonna. Now he might not be the most like, he's not gonna go and buy 1,000 roses, and he's not
every
gonna,
day. No,
I'm gonna get it twice a year. I'm gonna get it on Valentine's Day, and I'm gonna get it my birthday.
Yeah,
I had to learn that that's my person. That's how he thinks. That's how he operates. And so I think it's just getting to a place of what are your non-negotiables, mm-hmm. and what's realistic, but not feeling like I had to settle. And, and I think that that's where everybody needs to be able to have that honest conversation with yourself. Do you feel like you're settling, or are you basing what you think you want in these relationships, or whether it be with a person or your work environment, with what society has shown you as the expectation. Because what really is the expectation now? I think everybody needs to base that individually. And at the end of the day, when I think about what really realistically is my expectation, at least my partner does meet a majority of those things. Not all of them, but enough.
And I don't think we meet all of them.
No.
Ever.
Because I don't meet them all. I know I don't.
I know. I don't want to because I don't meet your person.
No. I know I don't. But that's
you okay with that?
And that's the part where we have to be honest. Like, you can't ask for what you're not also giving.
Listen.
Don't ask for a man that's healthy and attractive and got good credit, and you ain't paid your student loans
ever
in 2 years.
Or you don't go to the gym. Like,
right.
No. This meme got me. I almost died. I saw this on TikTok. I think somebody sent it to me. They asked this girl, and it's not a shame. They asked this girl, "What is your biggest turn off on a guy?" And she said that he doesn't work out. Now that statement is very accurate, for someone. But when the person that narrated the video says, "But babe, it don't look like you ever been at the gym."
Dang. See, I can't even set myself up to say nothing crazy like that.
Because I was like, I understand that's what she likes, And maybe somebody really fit
That's what they
will be with her and love her,
right.
That's what she likes. So I was like, you know what? I can't even be mad. But the lady that was narrating the video, she's funny. It's a comedian. I was like, she's about to come for her. She's like, babe. I was like, oh no. And it's not body shaming. It's just like, you have your non-negotiables. You want somebody that works out and is healthy, even if you're not. Right? Like, you yourself don't want to, right? Like, you don't want to go to the gym, you don't want to eat right, but you want somebody sexy, because in Africa and other places, if you're bigger, little curvy,
it's a sign of wealth.
It's like, you got money because you can eat like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people are like, oh, you're doing real good. Look at you with a couple extra pounds.
Have you seen the TikTok trend where they're looking for a guy that's 6'5", blue eyes, in finance? That's like been this big TikTok trend. Like, all the young girlies are looking for a guy in finance because apparently that's where stability, 6'5", blue eyes. I don't know.
6'5".
Right. Who's, I don't know. They have this
5'3".
but it's just bro, come on. That's not even realistic. You have to think about a person who is just thinking about even that pedigree of a person, right? There was a woman who did a breakdown of that video who's also in finance, went to some big university, I think Harvard or Princeton, I don't know, it was something, but she's in finance too. She was like, let me tell you something about who you all are fantasizing about pulling. She's like, 'cause I go to school with them, or I went to school with them. She was like, they're all trust fund people and they kick it with their own people. She was like, she was really breaking it down. She's like, they work all the time. There's different levels of who these people are. This is what they're looking for in partners. It's not this quick, just because you want this person, that's what you're going to get. They typically date people from their own, so it was
all
just
the trust babies.
Yeah. And so she's like, and they work all the time. You would have no family time. So if it's really just about the money, cool. But if you're thinking you're actually going to have a relationship. So you got to ask yourself, when people say they want to marry someone with money or somebody that's a CEO of a company, do you know what kind of hours it is to be a CEO of a company? We don't even run a Fortune 500.
And the hours.
And the amount of hours. So I think my husband's he's been around us long enough to know oh, you're with her, I'm not going to see you until the sun goes down.
You're going to retreat, great, have fun.
Right. He has been around this for
all
years.
Yes.
But some new guy who I'm just dating, he's like, so you going to be gone for how many days? And
with that girl?
And you're going to be working and you're not going to have time and you don't want to know how my day was. It's no.
No.
Not right now.
We can talk about that tomorrow because right now I'm trying to get this program launched.
Right. So you got to think about when you date successful people, they don't have time to ask you about your day.
No.
Because they're thinking about the next meeting, the next project. So be intentional about what you're asking for, because people who are running companies or who are making 6 figures or who are building, they not at home
thinking about you the whole time.
Thinking about you the whole time.
They may like you. They may want to do something with you, but they have other goals. And I think if you're cool with that, great. But don't also try to change these people.
No, and it's unappealing personally to a person who is very goal oriented. And I'm out here doing a million things. If I come home and I see you
not doing nothing,
looking at the walls, I'm instantly annoyed. I'm like, so what did you do today?
I worked.
Because there's always an opportunity to make another check in my mind. But that's a different day, different topic.
That's a different topic of matchmaking. But for those girls that are looking for the finance guy, I saw a comedy clip. I should not be watching so many clips. Short. And it was about this girl's at a comedy place. She had this older Caucasian male next to her. And the guy said, well, y'all met? Like Tinder? She's like, no, millionaire match. You could see the audience grab the phone and start downloading the app. Millionaire match.
That's a real thing?
Yes. That's so funny. And then the guy's like, everybody's downloading the app right now as we speak.
Millionaire match?
Yes. And this chick don't look like she a millionaire, but the guy did because he put his head down. And I was like, oh, so you a millionaire?
There's an app for everything nowadays. Like before it used to be like almost like you wanted to hide it, or like sugardaddy.com. Like now it's like, I'm going to spend all my money on you.
OnlyFans, you know?
It's so crazy. People have no shame anymore.
No, they're trying to make that money.
They're
trying to make that money.
Trying to spend somebody's money.
Also trying to make that and spend somebody's money. But no, just I think as people are dating, just be, my whole thing is be honest.
Yeah.
I think the grooming has stopped, right? Because when I was 9, my mom was forcibly teaching me how to cook. And I remember asking the reason, because I'm a person that if you tell me the why of the thing, like I may go with you on it. So it's like, yeah, but why I need to learn how to cook? She was like, because when you get married. I said, oh, that's the thing. No, I don't want to get married. Like, let's just go ahead and stop the training then, right? Like, this is nonsense. Now, in my Dominican family, that didn't fly so well that time. So a lot of pots in the air. But I think for me, it just kind of stood that if I had to do, I think this was what I think it stuck with me. If I had to do this to marry, then you don't marry me because you love me. You marry me because I have to do this for you.
Because I'm hungry.
Yeah, no. Like, no, just get a DoorDash account now, or get a chef. Now, a chef is really great. Having a chef is amazing. That's one of the goals.
That's the goal.
It's not a non-negotiable, but it's definitely a plus if you can cook and you don't have to expect me to cook.
Well, I think this was a very good conversation about expectations.
Yes, where I take your oil.
Invest your oil in the right places.
There's nothing wrong with you.
Places. There's nothing wrong with you. It's your season. Plant in the right harvest.
Yes.
Give it time to mature. It's not going to happen overnight. And certainly, if it's meant for you, it won't be so hard. You ain't got to fight for. People's like, oh, you fight for what you... Listen, them days of fighting and doing all that, like I'm at an age. Let me find out. I'll be like, go ahead, sis. That's
Listen, I don't fight for people. Like, I will check you, though, because if you're disrespectful, I'm going to check you, though, because I need you to know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to know.
But
like,
I'm not out here. I'm not going to be on your phone. I'm not pulling up to your house.
And I tell you, like, women are the best detectives. And I'm going to say this, hey, listeners.
You're a great detective.
I am.
Maylin.
And I don't like when she get activated, though. Like, I am so good. I'll be with my little...
Carmen Sandiego.
Listen.
She'll go through your trash. She gonna go through your Instagram. She's great.
If you left it for me to see it, you wanted me to see it.
She gonna connect all the dots. All 100%.
The planes, all the calls, all the records. So I learned, and I heard this somewhere, and it's true. If a woman asks you a question, though this is for you as well. If a woman asks you a question, she already has all the answers. She already has all the facts, all the proof, all the pictures, all the letters, all the emails. So it will behoove you to tell her the truth. Because if you don't, you're going to look like a fool when then all the proof comes out. You know what I mean? So as you start dating, I'm a person that I don't like to be a detective, because if I wanted to be that, I would have kind of a career on that.
Criminology, yeah.
But I have a strong intuition that for years I ignore. But now I don't. So like if something feels iffy, it's iffy. And I actually get like a feeling that says, look here. And I'm like, nah, I ain't looking, because I know if I look, I'm going to find something I'm going to like, and that's going to be like a whole thing to a whole thing.
It's okay. One thing, we're going to wrap up this episode because we were way over, and Dalton already told us a long time ago.
But it's all right. If you're still here, haha.
No, but this one lady said one time, like, if you are not really prepared to leave your significant other, like, don't go looking to see anything. So she was like, if you're not really about to leave your significant other, let that man or woman cheat in peace.
Yes.
Because all it is basically you are going to mentally torment yourself. She was like, if you're not about to leave him or her, don't be going through their phone. Don't go through their email. let that person cheat in peace.
And you live in bliss.
And you go do what you got to do.
Bars.
Because then what are you doing? Which I'm not saying I agree with or decline. But when she said that, it was just like, some people just love the theatrics of like,
the drama.
You're cheating. I'm going to cause this big scene. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But you never leave. You don't leave the person alone. You still dealing with it. And I can say I entertained some of that in my earlier years where it was like, especially with Juliana's dad, shout out. You're a great person now.
Yeah,
back in
but
the day,
we know
what's that.
But back in the day, yeah. But we all grow. We all grow.
He's wonderful. His wife is wonderful.
Beautiful life.
Love that.
He grew.
And he's a wonderful person.
Amen.
And I think I contributed a little bit to that. So you're welcome.
You did elevate it.
But I think it's just like, so much of that, I was just like, why am I playing this game? I wasn't going to leave, so I should have just went to work and pay the rent.
Mind your day.
Mind your day.
People are like this and we judge them. Like, does she not see? Does he not see what she's doing? He sees it. She sees it.
Yeah.
She's decided she's not going to deal with it right now.
And the day I decided I was done, he was like, oh, you for real this time?
Yeah.
Like, no, for real. I'm for real this time. So you just have to really like...
Yeah.
Don't become Carmen Sandiego if you're not really about to do nothing. If you're not really about to do nothing, why disrupt your life?
Yeah,
Don't do it. I mean, eventually, hopefully you do, because you don't deserve that. You shouldn't be in those relationships. But it takes us all better. It takes us all different time periods, because we've all been there. I have played the fool. I have done the crazy girlfriend thing. I've pulled up to your house. I've done all the drama. Back in my younger years. This was many moons ago. Today, present, Christina, I'm not entertaining it. I'm not dealing with it.
We're good.
God willing. I never have to deal with that.
And I think for me, if I have to question, like if I have to ask you to see your phone, or if I have to look in your email, if I have to start digging, like if I have to turn into a detective, I'm not even going to do it.
I'm not at peace.
I was like, you know what? I don't trust you.
Yeah.
Why I don't trust you? Like you have to ask yourself, why I don't trust you, right?
Yeah, there's something about this.
There's something.
That's already off.
And if you're not even telling me the truth.
Yeah,
like I give people an opportunity, because we all F up, right? Like we all F up. We're human. So if you F up and you own it and you talk to me, because in the past, I was like, I will never forgive this. I said, that was what I used to say. But when you're in the situation, it's different. And I've been willing to forgive people. They come up with the truth. And my thing is, if you tell me the truth, right, I don't find out, you tell me, and I don't look like a fool, right? Then I'm willing to work this out. There's therapy, right? We all grow. But if I have to start searching, I ain't searching. If you don't want to tell me, don't tell me. I'm just going to bless up and have a great life, because I'm not going to put myself in a stressful situation. I'm not going to get sick because of you. A lot of people have a cancer and all kinds of illnesses. It's because they took all that hurt and all of that drama, internalized it. Now the thing manifests into a disease. I'm not about that. I'm about to dance my little bachata and salsa and wish you a good life and put my reggaeton on, right? Like, let's go, put my little candles. So for anyone that's actually questioning right now, like, is this, have an honest conversation. Say, hey, I'm feeling this way. If that person still doesn't change their ways, bless them up, let them go, set them free, so then you can find your right person. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. So you can put your oil in the right place, baby. Put your oil in the right place.
Absolutely. Thank you for going down this journey of memory lane.
We're here to help you out.
Yeah, absolutely. And and remember, as you're evaluating all these things,
remember,
it's bigger than you.
Thank you so much for listening today. We're excited, and we hope that you follow us on
Instagram, True Print for Life, YouTube channel, also True Print for Life. And make sure that you share, like, watch our videos. Make sure that you follow us on all streaming platforms.